If you stop for a moment and look closely at the world around you, you can find some pretty amazing things. I thought I'd share with you some of the amazing things I found today. It's a small world. Flowers are nice to see, but when you see them up close, they can be pretty amazing. This newly blossomed flower still has its petals curled up at the edges. They've only just been released from the flower bud. There are other buds waiting to blossom behind the flowers. Whether the petals will stay like this or eventually fully open, I'll have to wait and see. The petals of this newly opened flower are still a little crumpled from having been recently folded up inside the flower bud. We can see grains of pollen attached to the anthers of this flower. Pollen is sticky and will stick to any insect that comes to feed from the nectar that the plant produces. Insects, like this tiny bee, fly from flower to flower, feeding on the energy-rich nectar. With each visit, sticky pollen collects around their heads. When they visit another flower of the same species, some of the pollen stuck to their heads is transferred to the plant's stamen, and fertilization is complete. Bees also collect pollen in pollen baskets on their hind legs. They use this pollen to feed their developing young. Not all flowers get the chance to reproduce. There are a myriad of hungry creatures, like this caterpillar, that are only too happy to eat the developing flower buds. Caterpillars have voracious appetites. They need to eat as much food as possible if they're to make the almost miraculous transformation into one of these. Even in winter in southern Andalusia, butterflies are plentiful. And the air is full not just with butterflies, but with other flying insects too. This is a crane fly, commonly known as a daddy-long-legs in English on account of its extremely long legs. Many people are frightened of crane flies. They needn't be, as the crane fly is no threat to plants, insects or people. An adult, it doesn't eat and exists only to reproduce. Notice the numerous lenses in its huge compound eyes. Other insects like this hoverfly also have compound eyes. Though they look like wasps with their striking yellow and black abdomens, hoverflies are actually harmless. They've evolved to look like wasps to discourage birds from eating them. And there are hungry birds watching and waiting wherever there are insects to be found. Another common predator is the spider. You really do need to look closely to see this tiny spider. In England, we would call it a money spider. If you find one on you, it's supposed to be lucky and indicate that you're going to get some money. The reality is that this is a very young spider, possibly about to spin its first web. So you can see that even a brief walk in the countryside can introduce us to some amazing sights, if we look closely enough.